Well, Nigeria and Ghana have begun to evacuate their citizens stranded in Ukraine because of the Russian invasion. A former Nigerian student leader in Ukraine, Ronald Ajiboye, who has been helping in the evacuation of students, now joins us to, among other things, discuss the challenges involved in this venture and prospects of using other channels to help stranded Nigerians and other Africans escape the war-torn country. Ronald, thank you for being here on Newsday.
Thank you, Chief, for having me.
Of course, it's a pleasure. Thank you for rising to the occasion as well. Can you give us a progress report?
All right. So basically, so back then when I was schooling in Ukraine, I was I schooled at the National Aerospace University. That's in Kharkov. So Kharkov is the second biggest state in Ukraine. So it's like Lagos of Ukraine. And then right now, that's where the fire is burning most right now. So the target is mostly flight schools, aerospace schools, and you can see that there is a recent attack in a flying school and, that even affected, in Kharkov, one Indian student died recently. So a lot of students have been trying to get out. Now the problem is, if you check the Ukraine map, down to the west, I think it's bounded. We have Hungary, we have Poland, we have Romania. Down to the north, we've got Russia itself, that's the up north. And then we have Moldova, and then we have Hungary. So we have a couple of exit routes. But then people going through Poland, which is closer to the western parts, that's Lvov and Ternopil, they're having issues because Poland is already saturated. But there are constant updates by fellow Nigerians and other nationalities that have been helping with information passing across. So what I've been able, or what we are doing down here, is to help to bridge the gap with the parents through a robust database system. Because at a point in time, the internet got shut down. You can't contact anybody. You could also reach out through phone calls and all of that. So we're trying to reach out to the parents because they are panicked. And I remember when I was there and then we had a little issue as well during the Euro Cup. And then I realized, I remember how my parents were really worried. They were trying to reach and all of that. But the funny thing again is that some Nigerians don't want to leave. They're like, it's better for them to even be here. A lot of them want to pick up guns, you know, and say, okay, we want to fight and defend Ukraine. Yeah, but then I think things are really heated up right now and they are finding exit. A Nigerian was missing, according to a statement that we got from a friend of mine who we studied together. You know, she had left, he had left. And the people were like, you know, you don't even know where you're going. But then, of course, he was looking for somewhere to go. And then he was missing. We didn't get to, we tried to trace him. Up to now, we still haven't had any words from him. In my school, we have all the buildings connected on the ground. So when they heard of a threat, they were able to pass the student on the ground through another building and save them. So that building is protected anti-bomb. And in that facility. So there are a couple of things that we are doing, especially in terms of database management and making sure that we get the information viral. So once we hear that this border is best, and then there is a particular opening again, we try to communicate in a viral post. We have the influential people. There are a couple of influential people that, left through Ukraine. We have people the likes of Crazy Clown, Peruzzi, the likes, some people, and then they can easily reach out. So we're trying to use this platform to get across to people.
So are you satisfied with what the federal government is doing at the moment, you know, to evacuate Nigerian students stranded in Ukraine? Or, you know, would you like them to do more?
Well, I would expect they would do more, a whole lot more. 2012, that was during Euro Cup. And then whenever any foreign country plays with a black nation, then, you know, this whole racism outburst comes up. And then you see a lot of Nigerians. Personally, 2 of our people were stabbed. One was stabbed in 8 places, and then some other guy was stabbed in 5 places. These are people that I know personally. So it was reported to me, and then I was there. We tried to reach out to the consular of the embassy at the time when I was there. And, you know, eventually they came around then to have a stakeholders meeting, which I was among. And then I was asking questions. Why is this so? And it can't go on. And then, so I think the response was that if only those people knew how to speak English, they would have been able to speak Russian, they would have been able to ask for help. I speak Russian, but then who cares? They don't care. Anything could have happened. So at that point in time, they still didn't do anything. For me, if I was still in Ukraine, I would rather find a local county or find some top of authority, because those were the people we're collaborating with to to give protection. So I don't know what the Nigerian government is doing. I've been reading news and all of that, but I can tell you that it's not enough. It's not enough. I'm totally dissatisfied.
Well, it's definitely impressive, the informal network that you guys have been able to build and keep in touch, and especially keeping us aware of the situation. I want to ask about life in Ukraine. Living in a foreign country can never be easy. Of course, one that doesn't, you have a language barrier. Is it the kind of country where you found Ukrainians mixed with other nationalities, or Nigerians, so to speak? Like, do you have any Ukrainian friends that you reached out to? Because the narrative being portrayed right now is that it's extremely racist. And, that aside, we also know human beings become very selfish when it becomes life and death.
Of course.
So can you put into context for us the way Ukrainians treat Nigerians or just foreigners before the war started, and the way that they're treating now, if any are even coming to your aid?
Okay, well, I'll speak about my personal experience. At the time that I was the president, I also, in 2013, was given an award as the most influential black man there. So at least I know these people very well. And I had Russian friends. When I say Russian friends, I mean Ukrainian, because predominantly they speak Russian. I mean, Ukraine and Kiev. So, and I speak Russian. So there was a day I was going to buy something in the supermarket. Yeah, and I got held up by close to about 25, 30 Ukrainians. And then I spoke to them like, hey, what? We got tennis we played tennis yesterday. I know you, Vlad, I know you, this one. But they said they don't care at that point in time. So, and a Nigerian had gone to beat up some white guys to Kuma, and they wanted to retaliate. So they were taking me on stage as the president that, at least I know these people, I will provide them out. So I had to call, try to speak to them, ask them, like, can you let the woman go? There was a woman with us then. We were 3, and we were about 30 with guns and all of that. So they let the woman go. I told her, speak to the Nigerian guys that have been kept on stage. Anyway, long story short, I was released. I called my Nigerian guys to come around. We tried to find a way to settle it. Now, the moral lesson is that, despite the fact that I played tennis with these folks yesterday, I knew them. At that point in time, they just denied me. So, an average Ukrainian person, we've got friends. Up till now, we do business. I came back to Nigeria. I was working as an assistant general manager in Ukraine. I was brought to Nigeria to set up a company, Dogan Sugar, as a pioneer director in there. A lot of people working with me then, the white folks, were Ukrainians. They were Turkish. We didn't have a problem with that. I also have a bunch of friends. I would gladly go back to Ukraine, but I can tell you that the nature, you'll find more racism there. Of course, you would definitely find more racism there. But over time, the narrative is gradually changing. When we got there the first time, there were fewer blacks. But we started infiltrating we fought some couple of fights. If you have to go around before, they will ask you to take your passport around with you. They will ask you some certain questions. But then we did some fights. And I think it's why so many people can actually go there. And people before me also fought, to also make things better. But of course, based on the question you asked, you can't compare Russia, Ukraine to some other. And that's the reason why they are protecting their secret. Back then when I was studying, during my practical, there are buildings that I wasn't let into. I did aerospace engineering. I wasn't allowed to face some practical. I will not be exposed to their secret. There are a couple of things I won't be let in. I didn't graduate when my mates were graduating. That's a story for another time. But what I'm saying is that as much as I feel so pitiful for what is happening around right there as well, when it comes to human relationship, when it comes to racism, it's also high over there, of course.
Well, Ronald, thank you for your insight, and especially being someone who's lived in Ukraine. Based on what you've seen in terms of the reaction of the government being reactionary and not being proactive, what advice would you have for the government in terms of shaping policies that will prevent something like this from happening in the future? Because just because there's a crisis in Ukraine today doesn't mean it can't happen somewhere else and Nigerians get stranded again. So what advice would you give?
Okay. So first, you can't make a man understand something if his salary depends on not understanding it. There are a couple of things that are wrong foundational-wise, right? And then if the people on the top, at the top, they will claim that, okay, what are they going to do there in their own defense? I won't go study aerospace engineering if it was here in Nigeria. I was studying some other courses, some other course before I left. So then if the education standard was quite okay, Ukraine is more affordable compared to going to the United States, going to the UK, if you want to do aerospace down there, you're paying like £20,000 in the UK, but if in Ukraine, probably you pay like $5,000. So it's quite affordable. We could easily go there, and they have a very good technology. So going back to the question, they need to stop saying the reason why, what are these people going to do there? Our structure here in Nigeria is shitty, and I'm sorry to say. So if things were right, then they won't go out. So they need to fix things right. And then for the policy-wise, and then I think there should be a revisit. When we are picking people to like mount positions of responsible authority, it should be based on merit, not political. How can you, I'm not saying, but I don't know who the ambassador is currently, but I can bet he probably doesn't know how to even speak Russian. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know the person, I'm sorry. But if we check, maybe he doesn't. So if you want to put somebody to bridge a gap between some two forces, that the person should have every tools that is needed for the person to make the work, to make it happen, you know what I mean? So if we want to get in the whole situation right now to fix things and to put things right, I think we need to start making sure that, okay, do we even have a proper database? Do we know how many Nigerians are studying in Ukraine in our database in Nigeria? Apart from going down to the immigration to see people that flew in there, are they really, really studying? We have the tools if we want to do this. And it's easier to quickly reach out to the parent, to quickly reach out to the guardian, the agents that, to reach out to the school, to reach out to all of these. I've been hearing about Air Peace wanting to support. I've also heard about, before I came into the studio, I saw Bruce, that's Silverbed or AIT? Bruce, yeah. I saw him posting like, okay, some billionaires. It doesn't cost so much to evacuate people from there. But if our relationship had been great with the Ukrainian government, with Hungary, with Poland, it would have been easier. I was in Ukraine and I was aired with police. I was aired by police. Maybe they would check in passport and all of those things. An American friend of mine, who is also in Nigeria, but because he has an American passport, he just called the American embassy and be like, what the hell are these people doing? I need my passport right away. And then you see some other forces coming, some other police. But for me, my passport was withheld for 3 days. And I would keep fighting like, what? I'm just going to speak English, but the next thing is still going to be there.
Well, former Nigerian student leader in Ukraine, Ronald Ajiboye, thank you so much for joining us on Newsday.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.